Hello, welcome, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. This is what life is like now. This is what it's come to. I go into the grocery store with this exact outfit on. It is March 20th. March 20th, 2020. And we are living in crazy times. Obviously, I'm not going to do the whole stream with this mask on. I wonder what it actually sounds like. But life is insane these days. Now, I don't know why I can't hear myself, so we may have to start over. Oh no, sorry about that. I can't hear myself because I have a mask over my mouth. Anyway, this is the way it goes in LA these days, and so goes LA, probably so goes the country. I got to get this off. Hospitals are full on the west side, on the east side, on the central side. Nobody's telling you that. Nobody's telling you that the hospitals are at capacity or almost at capacity. Nobody's saying that. Don't know why. These times are crazy. It occurred to me. So if you don't know, and I'm sure you all know, we are on what they call, what is it called? Well, we're in quarantine. So the residents of Los Angeles have to stay at home, stay inside. It's an ordinance. I wish I could remember what it's called. An admonishment that we stay away from other people. Obviously, the new term is social distancing, which I think you stay at least 6 feet away from other people, and don't touch your face, wash your hands quite often. Anytime you do anything with your hands, wash your hands and make sure you don't touch your face either way. There's this new thing that people are doing, and I guess someone told me that kids were taught this in school now, which I had not. I wasn't taught this in school, but people are sneezing into their elbows, like so. That's a new one for me. That's not something that I was taught to do. Not. It's also not something that I do. So maybe I need to adopt a new plan or practice for sneezing. Um, there's a lot to talk about. I have a timeline that I'd actually like to share. I'm not going to share it today. I'm going to share it tomorrow because I have to piece it together. And I didn't have the opportunity to do that today. I wasn't going to do any posting until tomorrow, but I felt like I had to get out of the house and do some reflecting or some verbal reflecting. So it's been now, we've been quarantined for a week, and the time has actually flown by. It's been strange. I did some work around the house actually every day. I'm putting up a new, how do you say, like a lattice on the top of our wall, because we had some weather problems that removed the other lattice. So that's been something that has been on my list for quite some time, and I was able to work on that today. I don't know what's going to happen with this. This is a never-ending um, story. This whole event is it seems like the whole world is about to unravel. Nobody's going to work. Big corporations are paying their employees while they sit at home. I know someone who works for a large company, and it's a retail company. It's large, but it's not like a Microsoft. But they're going to get paid for a couple weeks, and then they're going to stop paying them until they're back online for business. Which I mean, I understand. There's really not much you can do as a company without bringing in revenue. You can't just pay employees for no reason. So let me take these off. So anyway, the timeline is going to look sort of like this. We're going to talk about when this started. When I started seeing it, I started seeing it in December, meaning I started seeing videos that were snuck out of China in December, and they were some were most of them actually were on on Instagram. I think yes, I think Instagram. There were some on Twitter, but most were on Instagram, um, and they were sort of pieced together. Some people did they did live broadcasts with their phone, or actually they filmed with their phone and then posted it on Instagram. These are the videos that I saw that were in China of all sorts of chaos happening because people were um, picking up this virus and not doing well, and the country was in chaos. And I spoke about it on a post right here in this very room sometime in January, around middle of January. Probably around the time when that one senator heard about all the bad news in her briefing and decided to sell 1.2 million in stocks that she knew nothing about. I heard she's one of the wealthiest ones in the Senate. I think it's the Senate. So she maybe it's possible that she knew nothing about it, and the people that manage her money. I mean, I think she's the one that's worth $500 million, and that's possible. I mean, $1 million to a person that has 500 of them is not really a big deal. I'm sure they don't micromanage their purchases. But anyway, so I was following this sometime around the holidays, and I just kept paying attention throughout January, and I did not expect it to happen this soon or to get to the States this soon, but I didn't take into account how freely people travel around from countries to countries and how many wealthy Chinese people there are and how often they visit the States, and how often they fly to and from states to China. And so therefore, and I don't even know if that's true, to be honest with you. I don't know if it came from China. I don't know if uh, if the reason why it spread here was because someone came from China. Who knows what's going on? And I tell you what, whatever we're being told is not the whole truth. I'll just say that. I'll give you one example of why. Let me take my gloves off. I'll give you one example of why this is something is not right. Now, I suppose that after this is being been stated by multiple people, then you'll start hearing about it. Um, but the reason why I feel like this is all weird is because there has not been one mention, not one single mention of immune system boosting. Nothing about how to boost your immune system. Not one single question from the reporters, and not one single statement from the politicians and the uh, what is it called? The task force, the the group of doctors and other um, other intellectuals that are on the podium. every day, giving us a briefing, but yet never giving us any information. Um, Not one mention of how to strengthen your immune system, or forget how to. A medical doctor, for the most part, most of them, I won't say all of them, most of them are not going to tell you to boost your immune system or do anything that is, let's say, holistic, to affect your health. And that's not their fault. It's just a training thing. That's what they're essentially trained to do. So, um, that's interesting. So anyway, that's the first thing, and that, this is basically in correlation, or in relation to this particular thing, is there's also not a mention of any sort of vitamins and or minerals that could possibly help you boost your immune system or help you work through the the symptoms a little bit faster or easier. Now think about that for a second. You got a room filled with reporters. There's not a lot of reporters because now they have them spaced, one every other seat. I was trying to count how many there were today. Somewhere it seems like maybe 25, 20, 30. Um, but at least half of the reporters that are normally there, and most of them seem to be pretty Trump friendly. Um, they definitely are handpicked, in my opinion. Although a few of them had some hot questions today and a couple times before. But not one question from a reporter about that sort of thing. So you mean to tell me not one reporter in that group takes vitamins? Not one reporter in that group believes in a little bit of exercise to boost your immune system? Not one reporter in the group cares anything about how to strengthen your body in order to deal with this virus. So just be aware that these are the people that are the gatekeepers to you getting information, and they have not asked one question about any kind of, let's say, natural healing. Now, I'm not going to go get all woo woo and crazy with the natural healing uh, ideas, although one day I will. Um, but I just find that interesting. And so, if we know that these people are not asking any questions pertaining to that, then and if I was to talk to any of my family members that are in the medical industry, they probably would, laugh in my face about vitamins and immune system boosting when it comes to viruses. But I I don't know. I think that's sad that that doesn't take place. But it's an interesting time. So for my future self, when I'm 140 years old and I look back at this, I just this is the oddest time probably in my life. I've never experienced anything even remotely close to this, with the exception of being maybe, it feels like when you're living in a place that has tornadoes and the siren goes off for the tornado, and then you have to do the tornado drill, which is, if there's a basement, we as kids we would go to the basement of our school and kind of sit with our heads between our legs, I think, and just wait until the tornado passed, or the warning of the tornado passed. So it feels very similar to that, except for instead of it passing within, a couple of hours or a couple of minutes, it's just there, looming. Every time you wake up in the morning, you think about it, and you wonder, is this just a long dream that you haven't woken up from? Today I left the house, and we had to go pick up something from the grocery store, and I had forgotten about the virus for a moment because I was working on something, and I realized that I had to put on my battle gear, gear of face mask, gloves, and then a layer of clothing that I could pull off after I've entered the infected zone. Now I have to say, now the city's on lockdown. The governor has issued extensive warnings about the fact that people are getting sick. A couple of days ago, we had a 77% increase in people testing positive for the virus, and yesterday the numbers jumped. I think um, from 10,000 to 14,000 nationwide. So that's obviously a large increase. And so with that, there were some guidelines on what you can and can't do in the city. And so I was in a grocery store today with that very outfit minus the sunglasses that I had on at the beginning of the post, and there was not a single other soul in the store with gloves, mask, nothing of the sort. And I just think that's so weird. I think it's so strange. And I don't know what to make of it, especially when people are on the news every day telling you what's happening. There's a few funny things happening with the virus has now been renamed the Chinese virus, which I gotta say, every time he says it, I laugh. That's pretty funny. The Chinese virus um, is I mean, the guy likes to have some fun. He got a little hot today with reporters, a little mad a couple times today, which I haven't watched a lot of press conferences with him, so I don't know if that happens very often. I've seen him go off on people, but I haven't seen him really be mad. Today, I mean, there's probably a lot of pressure. He's probably not getting a lot of sleep, and this is something that just cannot be controlled. But just so you know, I'm not an intelligence officer. I don't work for the CIA or the FBI or any of the government agencies. And I was looking at this in December and considering it to be a problem. I in December, and I was considering it to be a problem in December. So I'll talk more about that in another post. But I'm going to talk. I'm going to give you a timeline tomorrow because I'm one of the only people that I know that was that looked at that saw the initial building of this in China, and a lot of those videos and posts have been removed from social media. That's another thing that's happening. The internet is being wiped clean of. I mean, it's being filtered like crazy, like never before. I've never seen it filtered like this before. I mean, they are. the- YouTube is it has almost nothing controversial. I'm not saying that there is nothing, but there used to be you could find out at least some controversial information pertaining to just about anything, and this you still can. But if you had checked this 3 months ago, 2 months ago, there's a lot more. So that's being filtered out, and who knows? Maybe this post will be filtered out too. I don't know, but the social medias are the same. They're not letting any information come over the social medias. Um, there's at least in a couple of hospitals. I don't know if it's all of them, but there are a couple of hospitals that are at capacity in Los Angeles. And normally, when things like this are happening, let's say when something is out of the norm, somebody will record it and put it on social media and people will see it. But I am not seeing it. And so if you have any videos like that, send it to Derek TV. Okay, on Instagram. I'd love to see it. Um, I don't know if there is. I do have an email. I just don't remember which one I use for this, so I won't give that out. But I'm curious to see. So you go and you check and see what's happening on social media, and you'll see that it's being censored. And I'm starting to feel like I'm in a. I wash my hands, by the way, before I touch my mouth. Um, I'm starting to feel like I'm in a communist country because this is exactly what happened in China. China, people were posting what was actually happening, and I mean, people were also disappearing after they posted things that they weren't supposed to. So, in that regard, thank God it's America. I can even say what I'm saying and go home and be alive tomorrow. So, I appreciate that. So, thank you guys for giving us that freedom to allow us to say whatever we want to say and still be alive the next day. Just, I guess we can't really push it too far. Um, so, I'm not calling out anybody specifically, and I have no issues and interests in leaving this world. I want to live, as I said before, until I'm 140. So I don't care what that looks like, but that's the plan. So if anything happens, know that I want to live to 140. Okay, and I'm very happy. So don't have any depression or uh, unhappiness. Uh, Another thing that's happening is they have delayed the actual results. So if you recall, when they started this task force and having these conversations with the public, they mentioned that we were going to ramp up because how could we let South Korea, a much smaller country, we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world, how could we let them beat us in number of tests? They were testing, as I said in before, they were testing 22,000 people a day, 22,000 people a day, and we were hardly testing any people. I mean, 10 people, like 100 people, like hardly anybody. And apparently that's still happening. Although celebrities, VIPs are all getting their tests, but we are still not getting the results for the nation at the pace that we probably should be. Now, on one hand, maybe I understand why they're doing that because they don't want chaos to break out. I guess, um, but I like um, the average American probably feels I'm not a child. I'm an adult. I handle big responsibilities, and I want to know the truth. Um, Chaos is going to break out. I'll tell you right now. You tell me all the people that are infected. I'm not going to do anything stupid. And I would imagine that most Americans won't. So I'd like to know the results. Be Know this: the results were supposed to come out on Monday. It's now Friday, and then they were supposed to come out on Tuesday. It's now Friday, and they still haven't been released. And also, they're not even releasing how many people they're testing either. So very fishy. So just keep that in mind. And um, if you don't believe that, go check. They're now telling us. So last week, the youth, the youth were not affected. The two youths were not affected. The youths were not affected. And this week, as of I think on Wednesday, I think we were told that the youths are affected. They released some data, and it was small amounts of people, 750 people between the ages of 20 and 40, I think, um, were actually affected by the uh, the disease, the virus. So now, before the youths were not affected, now they are. So, uh, anyway, okay. The military remains ready and capable. I didn't know. Well, anyway, there's. Did you know there's 62 million seniors in this country? 62 million, and so that's a lot of people to be in not infected but affected. So I hope those people take care of themselves. We are we are in need of ventilators, and I was even thinking about making ventilators myself, but sounds like they have employed the help of some pretty big companies. So it looks like they're going to get those done. But well, maybe not. I mean, we were supposed to have the tests by now, and we don't have them. So it sounds like just a bunch of we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and nothing gets done. It's just letting us feel like things are getting done when things are not getting done. Because remember, we're supposed to have all these tests, 1.2 million tests were supposed to go out this week. I don't know if they did or not. I mean, it's not a lot of tests for 300 million people, but if we had tested 20,000 people a day for uh, 5 days, that would have been 100,000 people tested. And I guess 90 something percent or 90% of the people are actually testing negative. So, I mean, I guess that's fast enough. I don't know how many people were actually tested today. Um, so I talked about us not having the numbers. I just think that that's fishy, and we should figure that out. Like, why don't we have? Why aren't the numbers released? Also, they stretched. Yeah, I'm sure everybody received this anonymous message about. I better get this timeline done because I'm starting to. I haven't written it all down. I'm starting to forget it. So, um, because I just remembered that everybody received this kind of weird phone call that they knew somebody in the government, and that official said that we were gonna, specific things were gonna happen, and we were given the secret information before everybody else, and so I'm saying this as if I got this information, but a lot of people have secret friends that are connected to the government a lot, like almost everybody that I know. So I know there's 6 degrees of separation, so I guess that's very possible. But everybody got that message, which I thought was interesting. Um, and being not being a person who follows the herd, I thought about that message and realized that it may be just um, a ploy, if you will. The other thing that we're not being told, like given a consistent number or a specific number, is how long does the virus last on hard surfaces? Like, how hard is it to test this virus? Like, how difficult is it for them to go into a lab, find somebody who has the virus, I don't know, give them a test, pull out some of the virus from their body, and then put it on a hard surface and time it, and do that. I don't if you know under what is it called, under controlled circumstances. Like, how hard is it to do that, and how hard is it to replicate over and over? Like, you obviously have tens of thousands of people that are um, have tested positive. So why can't we get the samples of the virus from those people and put it on a hard surface and figure out how long it lasts? See, these kinds of things I don't get. I don't get why we're not getting this information. These are supposed to be the smartest people in the world. Why aren't we told how long it lasts on hard surfaces? And I'm not saying that the data can't be inconsistent, but let's commit to like a range, like a reasonable range, and more specifically, why can't I get a range like we tried it 100 times, and 30 out of 100 times it only lasted 10 seconds. 40 out of 100 times it lasted 2 hours. And in the other 30, it lasted, or how it's 30, right? The other 30, it lasted 3 days. Like, why can't we get that information? That's fine. If it lasts from whatever I said at first, a few seconds to 8 days, then and we did it 100 times and we pulled the samples from 100 people, then I want to hear that. Let me hear it could last on hard surfaces up to 8 days. So go get your Lysol, go get your bleach, go get your alcohol, wipe down your hands, wipe down your hard surfaces, because if somebody touches a hard surfaces after they sneezed on their hand, it could last up to 8 days. How hard is that? Like go get some kids from college, and they're not working right now. They're not in college. Paid them some money. We'll put together a GoFundMe to pay the kids to do this study. This is absurd. Like these kinds of things, like we're all sitting here waiting for answers from people, and we're not getting any answers. And I don't understand why. And I don't understand why more people aren't asking questions. I think the public should be able to ask questions to the task force, since nobody asked anything about vitamins and an immune system. So some people are calling this I mean, they're doing it. They're calling it the Kung Flu. I don't know why we have to do. I mean, it's good to have some levity and have fun, I guess. Um, anyway, that's. I mean, I have some more stuff to talk about, but this is just more like a rant and off my chest kind of post today. Tomorrow, I'm going to post. I don't know what time, but tomorrow I'm gonna post the the series of events that I paid attention to from day one. So from back in December, January, February, what happened during those times, and the things that um, I would have, if I had been in a power position, what I would have done. I'm not sure why these things weren't done, but everybody stay safe out there, and just know that it does last long enough on a hard surface. So you got to make sure that you clean your hands, and um, be cognizant of what you've touched and what you've been doing. So stay safe in these weird times, and we'll meet again.